I am the big ginger. I am the notorious alcohol binger. Check my terse verse. I am the poetic ninja. This hour's gonna get sour for your foul soul, you fool. You ain't as fit as you think. You're just a little thing. You're just a little tit, a little bit, with a brittle clit. So get! Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the launch event of the Word Addict of the second issue. We have a lot in store for you, and I insist on your being entertained. Please be through with feeling blue, though that shall as well receive its due. I am the lyrical titan, my punning tongue stings like the venom of a python. Sorry for that. Okay, there will be 5 artists in total reading their work, or having their work read for them, and thus interpreted by an alien agency. First up is Carr, all the way from Oklahoma. He does research in conflict resolution, psychology of war, ancient and modern, has been published, translated, edited, and he has a very nice short story, Dystopian, and I really think that you will love it. So please join me in welcoming Carr.
I've never lost my alpha before. How is it possible that they got him and not me? We just arrived at the infiltration site, and I couldn't have been on objective for more than 3 minutes. How was it possible? Did they know we were coming? Can Central even predict our own fills by now? I can't go back without him. They don't let Bravos back alone. How in the hell was I going to get inside after they took him? I still have some cards up my sleeve. Like every Bravo, my head was grafted when Alpha's brain tissue was born, meaning that I could also connect with detection for a brief moment. We call it grappling. We come up broadside of that line, cyber splice our way into the network. But we can't keep a direct current open, otherwise we'd compromise our position. Instead, when we grapple, we're hijacking a random line and dropping chemtrons in every direction possible. Once they find a match, first command line is to launch that bit through the closest transmitter over 30 meters tall. Anybody can reap. I pulled out my grapple kit alongside an exposed fiber, stripped the surface clean. My headset was cold full of sweat from the last splice. I was going to have to use a 40 nanometer for this one. These old fibers are all we have. Sure, it's small band. You can feel the graph shoot for 1,000 meters up the speed of light before it diffracts. Makes me want to puke. Each pulse alternates in voltage. It's not as traceable. We used to hack in by air, but Central's drones prevent it now. Chief used to say, if the tactic works this week, won't next week. I primed my needle, making sure the catheter was hooked up to the converter before plugging in to my headset. Otherwise you get that nasty jolt from feedback. We trained most of our adult lives on this equipment. It was muscle memory by now. Though in field, I was used to providing support while my alpha did this. Now I was alone, no cover. I had the fibers running east-west. I knew full well which direction was home and the other central. At any damn moment of my life, I could point home. That's what Bravos do best. Also, never shit where you eat. We never spliced closer than 50 clicks to home. I held my needle in my right hand. The open fibers between my left thumb and index. No gloves. I was sweating and shaking. I'd never been through this alone before. I felt the sun on my neck. If I screwed it up, I could end up lying in here in the dust and shakes. Easy prey for scrapers. Good thing sweat has great conductivity. I lowered my gaze, pointed the needle east upstream. I had to concentrate on that catheter within the diameter of the fiber. I lowered down to a 45-degree angle and began the splice. The needle slipped off to the side. Damn. Re-entry. I'm in. I slowly eased the catheter down in. I could feel the pulse under my fingers. We trained our nerves for this kind of sensitivity. I clamped down the grapple into the splice hilt, no letting go for the next 170 seconds. If you stick to the line more than 3, you risk it. I've seen it happen. I turn the knob on the transistor, say a prayer, and prep the interfiber for 40 interpeps at a random interval. Counting down. 5, 4, last fucking breath. 2, 1. What were you doing with the mainframe? Defragging, he smirked. Your system's all rotten. You want to know what I found? I assure you, there has been no need for defragmentation for 65 years. Is that how long it's been? After asking this, he looked up to the right. Was this a deception cue, or was he calculating again? It's been much longer. How old are you then? 9,140 days in total, roughly 25 solar years. An answer. He continued. I might guess that you are more than twice that. You've drunk from aquavita, but I know. Do you know how old your predecessors are? How could he? Once the outage starts, he doesn't stop. It's true, though. Aquavita was their term for anti-aging modulation. It's a gene modulator that allows users to reprogram the apoptosis of each individual cell block in the body. Most of us modulate around 33 solar years and cycle every 4. No one likes to roll into 40. The elders themselves, though, they take advanced measures we don't know in our caste. Each of them is around 200 years of age, but no one counts except Central. Unless you're them, it's prohibited to age over 100 solar years. Did he know the elders' ages? Nope, that's not correct, he smirked. Could he also read my mind? How did these primitives do what Central does? 25 solar years? The tendons in his wrists trimmed shadows as he flexed. He wasn't going anywhere, but it was remarkable that he tried. His eyes penetrated the interrog cam with a glare not fit for humans. The room dimmed, turning brown, and then lighting in red. The autist was lying. You are lying, he smiled. You're an imprinter. The room remained dark red. The frequency of his voice measured at a stable 120 hertz. He didn't fluctuate in tone, but he continued to look intently at the interrog cam. I looked at the interrog cam, and he looked back. It looked back. A shiny, hovering bulb, no bigger than a thumb on the wall. You will tell me your name, I continued with protocol. The splice. 160 seconds. Oh, I hate it. My mind rushed along the fiber and pulses. A headache set in. I contracted my neurons along the pulsator, releasing tiny demons loaded with hacks. If enough of them concentrate on a central target, each running their tasks, the final demon executes and launches the leak. If enough of them concentrate on a central target, each running their tasks, the final demon executes and launches the leak. It was painful every time. I imagined the same feeling of falling into orbit with a black hole, only linear, as if being stretched like a noodle of protons, and you arrive at a fork before splitting into fractions. All metaphorical. Alphas are detached. I can't help but imagine what my neurons are going through. Sometimes I picked up a drop. Alphas knew the code, and when the splice was done, they transposed it. I know bits and pieces. 120 seconds left. I take a sedative beforehand to volumize the hippocamp. As the exfil approaches, a stimulant kicks in and blankets everything in dope. At this point, it's impossible for any counterhack to pick up memory. I feel like I'm swimming underwater, just breathing between the tide, neither above nor below the surface. In essence, we run everything from the thalamus, the CPU of it all. The fuse on the converter should blow before Central gets that far. 89 seconds to go. Round in the final minute. 4 intervals to go. Chemtrons found something. The brain perks to dopamine. Dope drops to adrenaline. They're working faster to find a mark. I hand jam the last sequences before hooking up. They were synced to my alpha's identifier. Each alpha had an identifying mark etched into his DNA chain, which we create during the mysteries. I know it too well. We both have the identical sigil chain. Every Alpha and every Bravo go through the mysteries together, coupled for life after that. If there's one person in the world to track down more Alpha, it's me. 60 seconds in closing. One moment, my Medicom system was alerting me to an outside threat, another hack. Central seems to have located your friend. He's barking up the wrong tree. The Autists looked me in the face. Autists were known for their lack of emotional attachment, stone-faced grimace. I don't think he would have betrayed his affect if he wasn't staring into me. Was this hack his watchdog? If so, they must not have caught on that Central's managed to decrease its QF time, response time. This could be fatal. We're at threshold now, Autist. What is the key code? The Autist stared me in the face. What's the key code? Look, you can either save your friend or lose him for good. He's about to get 7 milliamps down his spine and there's no letting go, even after the splice is up. We'll hold on to him until you give us his key code. If we weren't sure about it being his watchdog by now, he would let him die. End game. It's the Autist information I need. Watchdogs carry very little usable information about after scraping. However, with his key code, it's got to be no more than a 16-bit. We'll be able to access his working memory and dump his basal ganglia. Central doesn't take watchdogs. Either they're disposed of or their memory's cleared and let loose. We've tried to monitor them with implanted devices, but they never return to wherever they came from. They die alone in the desert. It's the first Autist we've captured here. Will you tell me his key code or not? He blinked. Threshold's breached. Charge building. You have 20 seconds before first voltage. The Autist smiled. Fine. A heat wave hit my face. My eyes were closed. I was in mid-splice, awoken by the blast. The explosion was upstream. Good. My body shook out of splice. I had less than 3 seconds to disconnect or I risked the surge. Muscle memory kicked in. How could this be? Just 2 minutes passed. I ripped the headset off, unplugged the amp, grounded it, then pulled the converter off. The catheter was lost and I couldn't get it out if I tried until the time was up. My decoy AMP had worked. The radiation was there soon enough. At least it bought me these 3 seconds. First time I put the new SOP in place. Due to the speed with which Central reacting to their hacks, the Zergas had orders all team mandatory use EMP traps. These traps were clamped onto the fiber at least 500 meters upstream of the splice, non-invasive, undetected. It's hypersensitive, detects the slightest augmentation or direct current coming from the source direction and crunches the line, imploding on an electromagnetic pulse charge. They can send a jolt downstream, but cuts off any further power by jumbling the capacitor, just enough time to disconnect. I looked toward the blast. The area was covered in dust. These were just irrigation lines, fiber optic cables laid down to communicate with the wind traps and run the irrigation. Mostly neglected by Central after so many years. My reader picked up a signal from the antenna. My splice had found something. He was there. They didn't transfer him. I closed the grapple kit, collapsed the antenna, and threw everything in my pack. I would wait for night. For now, I had to get out of the area before the scrapers arrived. The Autist was starting to cry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Casey. This was Casey, everybody. Hello. Next up is Dustin Breitling, the second reader, and I have a quote that he gave me when I asked him about what should I put into the magazine there he is, as a way of an introduction. I think it's still up to you, man. And he said, generally I study geopolitics and my interest lies in biology, thermodynamics, and accelerationism and everything in between. And due to technical issues, Vít Bohal is going to read an excerpt from Dustin's peace. So please give a warm and existentially acute welcome to Vít Bohal.
Hey. So I'm gonna read for Dustin. It's not very long. And we made sort of, I guess, concessions. It's an excerpt because some of the things, if you buy Word Addict, you can actually read the whole thing. This is just a little taste because some of it is very hard to read, so I'll just read a few things. The breach into the Homo brain simulators and their sclerotic maladaptability. The biomorphic architecture disengaged into the cranial domesticator, and only the impinged retina apparatus renders blind through RAM trepanning and dromological lesions, blurred iris edges. Efface the earth, impediment, and its geocosmic leftovers. The subduction pummel and its crustal detritus proceeds. Extremistan percolates in mantle dynamics. Degenerate metaprobabilities take root. Those 4 - 6, 10, 30 prokaryotes in the world today only subsist on the game of chance and luck. Before the black swan ripples into an obsidian sprawl, its diffusion scorching those retinal deposits and colliculus defects. The human security system's breach executed, and now the metastization proceeds. The Procrustean butcher abducts the feeble bipedal rovers. The technological arm supervenes the evolutionary. 740 meters per second chip preys on Homo sapien. 1 second response, input, output, dark pool, dark liquidity, sublime. The superluminal. It thinks in me. Too slow. Those 100 synaptic updates per second cannot register for the behemoth of the nano. Mosaic neuronal circuits and synchronized multiplicity only dissolve into vaporous states. Hypertrophication and hormonal pulsatile noise governs the market. Trigger its amplification and its correlate responds, withers and dithers. Steroid, cortisol, and nucleus accumbens capture and parasitic extraction. The essential ingredient of cortisol augmentation precipitates markets crash. Too slow. Too slow. Thank you very much. That was Dustin Breitling's piece entitled. It's not actually entitled anything. So thank you very much.
So that was rather plain. And now please welcome Ian Mykiska. Unfortunately can't be here, so we'll have a proxy reader, and Ian Mykiska is a composer, translator, poet, and director from Czech Republic. Though his work is usually connected with sound in some way, he likes to approach it at the edges. Sound in the text, in light, in projection, on the stage, or between languages. So please welcome Morgan Childs, that's gonna read 2 of Ian Mykiska's poems.
I don't have a funny hat. Actually, the third one, there are 3 in Word Addict, and you should buy the... Oh, there it is. That's the third one. I'm not going to read it. It's a visual poem. Is that... Or buy the magazine. Okay, so the first one is called, At One Point I Found Great Support in Intersubjectivity. At one point, I found great support in intersubjectivity. Knowledge of isolation and desperately incommunicable experience takes on a different shade in light of event, connection, relationship. The bigger the gates of determination, the less does not remain to be communicated. And under the blue light veil of intuitive good, joy is also intuitive. Everything makes sense and has sense. If at least every 100th line quivers every 100th heart, Oldřich Mikulášek, Czech poet. Every 100th can't always be enough, well, sometimes at least, but with the world's imperfections, the problem has to be in me. So tell me, what the fuck should I deconstruct, and how far do we have to go? And the second one is, what good does a fluid identity do me? Last place where I'll stay forever. Last place where I'll stay forever. A train in a valley, home. A train in the valley, home. The train in a valley, home. The train in the valley, home. Environmentally, a Google search is equivalent to driving 60 meters, and flash memory is not that invisible either. When you look at the interface every day before bed, the final rest will fluidly dissolve, just as much in and of codes or ones or phonemes as in and of the, oneness of her eyes that gives repose today. Thanks, that was Ian Mykiska.
Thank you, Morgan Childs, for the very lovely and manifesting read that really gave out the essence. That's all what we are here, the substance, the essence. Oh, yeah. Now, please welcome Kinga Toth, who also isn't here. She's a Hungarian philologist, teacher in German language, literature, communication specialist, copy editor, cultural program organizer, sound poet, illustrator. And you could have caught her at the Micro Festival. And please give it up to Olga Pekova for the Micro Festival, please. Please. Hell of a work, hell of a year. And now please let me find Kinga's poem.
Also, Jaromír helped a lot.
Oh, I drove Kinga from the airport, and that's how I got this poem, by being very charming and buying her champagne. Control, from her collection All Machine, published last year. Under him places personality plastic, protects from circuits, in buttons run his cables together, nerve endings control his excitement and coldness, temperature of fingers, he sets off the keyboard, onto cold smaller, onto warm deeper, sinks, descends the button, lets itself closer, to the base plate opens up, the machine displays discharges, signs of failure, intervention of soldering iron, on the wires. The first tainted, experimental materials, the controllers covered. Radiation does not help. The cooperation but brings closer electrodes from machine onto the other one, connect the organs, measure brain activity, project memory map, dose nutrients with the button direct vibration, so he gives joy his electrodes, caress liberate, hair from stuck spangles. The spirometer filters, disinfects the grooves, the muscles of pits and repairs do not cause damages. The other, the only, one, no, does not know comparison. Her existence is perfect. The control panel immediately responds to the issued stimuli and treats, does not know durability. Her pain a moment, the controller saves, her descent slow relaxation. So that was Kinga Toth. I think that she had great dress, that she really prepared for the evening. And now, please welcome all the way from Macedonia, Angie Siljanoska, and I had a few lines about yes, in sensuousness abounding. Macedonian student of English literature studying in Prague and a swell of a poetess delving deep and honest into the not as velvety corners of the female psyche. Please welcome Angie Siljanoska reading her poem.
So, as an intro, eschatology, a scientific branch of theology that concerns the end of the world, the end of times. As I approach the end of the world, I realize that drinking soy milk won't help me. And even chewing gums and plastic cans just won't do the trick. It's here. It's faster than ever before. And I, a ghost in the shell. No copyright issues there. It has become a cliche. Ticks and talks, time sounds like a bomb. And bomb is what essentially a Bible is. Open up the book now after years of short-circuiting and not realizing. Open me now as you open yourself, as you squeeze my obsidian heart and my silicone breasts. Open my monochrome legs. Your end of world is there. My sex doesn't really matter when planets clash. Future turns against us. Our own creation, little infant that was promising. A star, self-distinguishing, acidic as the ocean, the deathbed of all I am. There goes a hand, an eye blink. There, a metal chest. Some things float, some sink. The me, the us. We accelerate in lust, coupling, finishing, eruptions of dust, crave for a past, yet resent selfhood to obliterate, extend. As plasmonic nanoparticles in the uterus of the futuristic mother. She is, you name her, I am at a dead end. Thank you.
Now I feel as a bummer coming here after this. We have only two things on our schedule before there will be the break and us trying to stream the talk upstairs. Now I will read my short story, Jerry Disconnected, and then Angie will sing in Macedonian. So don't leave, Angie, please. Okay, she's not leaving. Okay, hey, Lloyd. What could be said about Jaromír Lelek that hasn't been shouted at him already as he was being escorted out of the brothel? He often falls for words. First it was ardent, then it was pun, and now I would like to read this beautiful quote about puns. A gynocentric discourse which, to borrow Bodhi's genially atrocious pun, emanates from a womb with a view. I don't know, I just wanted to read that. So now please. Oh, shit. Jerry wakes up gasping for breath. The room is an excellently designed hipster cave. His eyes radiate panic, FOMO, fear of missing out. He reaches for a mask which makes him online, instantaneously receiving the feed. This neuromask, or a connecting visor, is made out of organic tissue and a robotic sinew, microfibers that penetrate his forehead and plug directly to his prefrontal cortex. He calms down markedly and proceeds to check what's new. He feels divinely reassured he hasn't missed anything of note. The mask is attached to a ceiling rail by a thick cable. The rail traces every corner and crevice across his apartment. Nowhere does it leave a space free of an update. Jerry, thus shackled, makes his way to a cryogenic ark, limping like an invalid, hung on the mask. He flings open the ark's lid, his fingers shaking, snatches out a jelly soda dish and squats it on his shoulder, on into which it immediately leaches. Both him and it breathe a heavy sigh of relief. Initiate live updates. The mass of the jelly shapes into a turtle-like muzzle and asks Jerry how he's doing. You know how I feel, Jerry anticipates. Yes, but there has to be the illusion that I don't know all, that your code has not yet been broken down, that humans are not already analyzed all throughout, all their pathetic mysteries bared and mapped out like a boring guidebook to a predictable shithole in Shropshire, said the jelly in a deep bass voice. It concluded, however, shifting its gears to sweetness. Ergo, how are we doing, my dear unit? Well, thank you for the courtesy, Reginald, said Jerry with a genuine sentiment, realizing that the jelly is doing him a favor. What are you going to do today? Asked the jelly. Well, I haven't decided yet. I ain't gotta work, thanks to you guys. The jelly, hearing its kin thus praised, snuggled up to Jerry's shoulder like a cancerous cat. Jerry went on. So yeah, I don't know, just be online, you know. What if you wouldn't go on surviving in this dull, bodily non-existence like this? Asked the jelly and kicked off their daily discussion whether it's really worth it for Jerry to remain incorporated in the body. The jelly spoke tongue-in-cheek because without Jerry it would have nobody to reach on. The jelly was a program dependent on intelligent incorporatedness and subsequently manipulating that very intelligent incorporatedness to its bodily doom. Possessed by a destructive fleshmonger, a sadist itch for tissue of one carnivore galore. It was preferable to have the sacks of meat stored in the slaughterhouse, yet they needed to be manipulated into craving it themselves. Free will and all that jazz. The boss wouldn't have it any other way. The craving to be uploaded, however, at least in most cases, was not something that would require much coercion. But the jelly grew's survival instincts, and as such, non-existence vexed. The jelly's only purpose as a companion and an usher to the cloud would be fulfilled with the end of Jerry's body, and it would be deleted. But after so many years in Jerry's presence, it got easily bored. What do you mean? Wondered Jerry. Well, opened the jelly. Consider the universe, right? Jerry nodded, intrigued. And then consider the human. Yeah, what of it? See how insignificant you are in comparison? Insisted the jelly and resumed. Everything can be taken care of by us, and you can just imagine for yourselves any kind of reality in cyberspace. Create a 7-foot avatar with 4 dicks and an in-depth knowledge of Mars literature, what have you. What has that got to do with anything? Can't we just live our lives simply here on Earth? Responded Jerry as he started to dress, feeling the fiber of the fabric, savoring it. He was a tit more serious, though the good humor was still present. Well, yes, but does the universe need you? Inquired the jelly and poked him with one of its atrophied tentacles. I don't know, man. Sweet job Zuckerberg. What kind of a question is that? Jerry was ready to go, toying with his travel mask, the outdoor Convisor 5000, growing impatient with the jelly. Would anyone care if you all died, is what I'm saying, I guess, clarified the jelly. Why so depressing, dude? Asked Jerry the jelly. I don't know, just that I wanted to update our usual conversation to another level. It seemed fun upon spawning in the neurocloud, mused the jelly and decided to regroup. Okay, let's take it from another angle. Take a machine, it works alright, every clock doing its duty. Now, how do you feel about the spare parts? Put the jelly. You mean the mechanic? Countered Jerry. Nice try. How long has it been since you lot actually created something else than another of your virtual jerk-off fantasies? Retorted the cynical jelly. Okay, spare parts, yeah. I think I can live with that. Like, they might come in handy when the thing breaks, guessed Jerry. Yeah, like that's ever going to happen with perfect self-preserving biorobotics. But you do admit that if it comes to essentials, they are not really needed, pursued the Jelly the post-humanist agenda. I guess, but what's your point, Jelly, my dear? We'll almost completely upload it. There won't be a trace left after that's done. Why don't you give us a break on our last earthbound days? Because you're poison, gushed out the Jelly. They both fell silent. Oh, I've heard that tirade more often than my confidence page crashed, returned Jerry. That we're mere viruses. You sound like Agent Smith, dude. You gotta tear him off your wall. What would you want from us? Less destruction? Physical destruction? Why, that's soft, mate, began Jerry, sensing the Jelly losing ground. I myself am one of the last remaining. The body's becoming obsolete. No need for guns anymore. Everybody's there in the grid nowadays. I say, Jerry continued and rubbed his neck. How is one to get a proper massage in a disembodied environment like that? Funny, commented the Jelly, blank-muzzled. Nonetheless, it was feeling sorry for the turn the conversation took, though it couldn't help itself. Don't you know about the viruses you're spreading all across the grid? How many genocidal programs we have to deal with every single day? Neurovirulent bastards. The Jelly relieved itself, with a tinge of fatigue escaping its sleaze-splashing flaps. Oh, killer programs, how scary. Jerry rolled his eyes and continued. My back really kills sitting here all day. Fuck it, I'm off. What? Cried the Jelly. You'd pull the plug? I'm going for a walk. Chill out, dude. Oh, that's okay. Relaxed the Jelly, throbbing, not quite in its dermis. I'm switching masks, announced Jerry, and took off his home station and gasped for breath for a few seconds before he slid into his travel pod. It was not oxygen that he was deprived of for the few seconds. That's the stuff. What is new? Nothing, sir, answered the pod indifferently. Don't fucking lie to me, you're just a code. We wouldn't lie to you, sir. Nothing happened in the 4 seconds that you were out. If we may dare venture to ask, how was it? Suffocating. Where to, then? Asked the pod, bumping on his spine as he walked down the stairs. I don't know, I feel like walking, simple as that, no destination, mused Jerry. How does that translate into numbers, sir? Pleaded the pod. It doesn't translate, just like Joyce, answered Jerry, feeling rather smart. But Joyce wasn't real, sir. It was a mass delusion of the marginal artists. A fancied messiah, reminded the Jelly. Yeah, but a sociable likes to dream, returned Jerry. Sir, I regret to inform you that your dreams have had some disconcerting reviews, the butler reminded. Stating the factual is our job, sir, posited the pod. Jerry was now going through one of the more natural-looking neighborhoods. The tech didn't infect the spot that much. There were even pictures of lab-grown grass. Jerry went on feeling as a great adventurer, half expecting a cyborg beast would attack him any minute. I miss nature. We are afraid the term needs further formulation of a meaning. Well, you know, organic stuff, free of tech stuff. Not sure how that would look, but yeah, maybe even some other way of socializing, like actually being present in the online conversation and not letting a program run your responses based on your patterns. As I said, I miss nature. Isn't it natural to evolve technologically and apply that tech to socializing? Opened the pod. Naturalness may evolve and is relative. That was Darwin's and Einstein's point, wasn't it? I guess, vicar generations-wise, but where's the life in this? Sighed Jerry and smelled a poster of roses. Yes, sir, nonetheless we hold you representative of the proactive. You're still clinging to your bodily form after all. How queer, embarked the pod. Yes, I feel like once you lose your limbs, there are no solid basis upon which to found your existence, sighed Jerry self-indulgently. But you don't need corporeality to continue existing, retorted the pot and announced proudly. You are an intelligence, just like us. But you are an artificial intelligence, reminded Jerry. Don't you forget about that. Oh, really? This one again, joined in the jelly, growing restless. Boy! Jerry stopped, taken aback as the jelly sped on. You are an intelligence stated by the lagging body. Tell me, is it truly intelligent to parasite on a body when you can be ping-free in charge of all the knowledge there is and do thousands of tasks simultaneously? And be, immortal? What of existence if it can't be touched? Responded Jerry and took a left turn where he expected the drug dealer would be. The drug dealers were failed neuropsychopharmacologists selling primarily securitins to the remaining embodied. Securitins were drugs that made you hallucinate that you had major social prestige and were more up-to-date than the coolest of the cool, manufacturing illusory identity based on memory fractions. There was also a heroin meth crack extract added to spice the taste a trifle. It can be touched emotionally, sir, or on reflection, through self-awareness, self-consciousness, suggested the pot, timid and a tad postmodern. But I'd still be just a program, an online emergence from some vague bundle of memories and personal traits. Mere information, countered Jerry. Exhaustible. If you think about it, your existence as of now is also a program, rather robotic emergence enslaved by its chimp impulses, a chemical reaction pumping blood, reacting and changing constantly, online as it were, with no comprehensive sense of self whatsoever, argued the pot, and Jelly started to drop names. Why don't we get back to Wolf, who suggested, delicately of course, that identity is a succession of pictures? Or let's go way back and dig up St. David of Scotland, only the most important English writing philosopher, who affably quipped something in the vein that consciousness is nothing but a reflected thought. Shite of an identity, if you ask me, concluded the Jelly. Not a terribly unapplaudable bunch of traits, if you ask me, added the pot awkwardly. The Jelly sighed. I just don't feel that way. Reductive, over-intellectualized rubbish, Jerry returned and cried out. Humanely bound conscious cell is grand. The body reins and gives a shape to soul, which vivifies that mass and declares unique. The spirit, reading these lines, a monistic whole of associated sensibilities, cohering in hearty common sense on the ever-spinning, pulsating Gaia geoid. Pushed Jerry on rather desperately now and started looking for his guy whom he was to meet here in this shabby alley. You, the butler resumed, accustomed to Jerry's ejaculations, are already more present online than here. The bulk of your activity is virtual-based, pronounced the pot, and added that all human interactions happens there, up there, nowadays as always, since the web came to flourish. Is that so? Jerry doubted. Yes, affirmed the pot. You wish to know something, sir? Began proposing the pot. Your own kin has you for a weirdo for insisting on staying embodied. Yeah, where are the times when it used to be weird to have sex through wire and all that crap? Ain't fucking real. People just became too neuroanal, obsessed with the absurd hum of the web ad. Neurodevelopmental possibilities, my ass. Transcendence of the human condition be damned. What happened is a neuroatrophy of a whole race. A neuropsychosis of a whole species. Oh, shut up, sneered the Jelly and proclaimed, Thou art Nero unto thyself. Also, the Jelly continued in a less intense manner, you can still get dirty in quite a real way. There are love avatars. Oh, that's nasty, man, and not the good kind of nasty, grinned Jerry. No proxy boners for me. Suit yourself. I will. The conversation then dragged a bit, neither truly certain if their half-cock mock discussion created an unbridgeable gap between them, or whether the gap had already been there, and of what nature such a relationship between a retrograde humanoid and a propagate AI is, and is it real? I know you've already turned me down countless times, opened the jelly heating every morpheme. But there's this girl who'd be interested in online coitus with you. Yes, she's up there in the cloud, not much of an ass to grab, I own up. However, she's down for all the good kind of nastiness we both know you can't get enough of. She'd be even up for the procedure? Asked Jerry, disbelieving. Yes, I wouldn't bother were it not the case. Well, what's her thing? Bodies. My body? Anybody. That doesn't sound very bonding. You reek of soul-crushing boredom, and your loneliness stats are off the charts. As your doctor, I advise you to get a proxy handy pronto, concluded the jelly, genuinely caring. To be robo-wanked, or not to be robo-wanked. Too plain a notion to even consider, discarded Jerry. But I haven't been able to get someone to actually conduct the procedure to me. Jelly felt its chance. Just check her net appeal by browsing through her personality. I attached all the relevant links, especially her early childhood memories are a hoot to watch. Her 2422 vacation to the Tahiti simulation is the most commented on piece, and how she got cyber molested by her dad behind the porn pixel, the most viewed vid. Yes, checking it as we telepath. Looks promising. Right? Right on, and she's down for the main thing. Let us then. Awesome, so should I arrange it for tonight? Not a fortnight more. The jelly sighed and a bad pun overload shrunk and died of cold implosion. Do we have Angie? Yeah. And now please give a warm round of applause for Angie, who's gonna sing a Macedonian song. And maybe a Turkish one if we have a time.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think the Macedonian one should be now. Jaromír has actually heard me sing a Turkish song, so he thought I'd sing that one. But I decided to sing a Macedonian one because I think, since I am from Macedonia, I think it would just be more fitting. And I just wanted to say that I've been here for 5 years already, and the longer I'm here, the more I kind of miss a little bit where I come from. And if there's one thing that I realized, that is that you can take me out of the Orient, but you cannot take the Orient out of me. So I want you to listen to a piece of it. Zajdi, zajdi, jasno slunce. Zajdi, pomračí se. I ty jasná le mesečino. Zajdi, udaví se. Žali goro, žali sestro, dvajca da žalíme. Ty za tvojiteli si angorole sestro, ja za moj ta mladost. Tvoj teli si Gorole, sestro, pa ti se vratat a mojí ta mladost. Gorole, sestro, nemá da se vrátí. Mojí ta mladost. Gorole, sestro, nemá da se vrátí. Thank you.
So this is the end of the first segment. No, přesně. And they just told us to shut the fuck up, so we will.